short. And I've been working with GGGI 2017. Headquarters in Seoul. We work closely with a number of across several in the continent, and we're intergovernmental. So that means that embedded with ministries, agents, and also subnational within our host country. So GGI Rwanda, we work closely with the ministry structure as well as ministry environment, and primarily on greens. And for us greens, it encompasses different areas, including mobility and e-mobility, as well as economy and sustainable waste. We also have projects on buildings and construction, and in addition, urban resilience, a number of different that are really multifaceted, multidisciplinary, and at the same time, they're all the government of Rwanda, the strategies and the strategies that they have set, updated in DC report, as well as their own national strategies, including the 50 document, and a number of different strategic documents that we really take to our work and embody and include the work that we do. The work for the different country offices really varied and based on priorities. So for Rwanda, we're working closely with a number of different ministries, especially in economic growth, climate resilience development. Yeah, GGGI previously started as a and then transformed treaty-based international organ. So we still have ties to the government Korea. Our headquarters there, we take a lot of lessons learned from process that cities have taken Korea, especially Seoul. And this is a way that we're able to also paradigm and make a traditional development style growth, and looking more at economic growth taken in a way that's environmentally using lessons, especially South, also across different. So a lot of times we'll have bilateral exchanges in Rwanda and Senegal, where Mexico and Rwanda will share lessons learned well. So we really to take the best lessons learned, and implement them and context them into our It's hard to one, but I think people will see that there is a lot of going on at COP27. A lot of nuance and funding agreement, funding for the price, and funding for implementation. So it's really exciting to see what has been able to do, working not only with the government institutions, development partners, as well as development banks. The development bank, the team been sent to COP27 has done a phenomenal job in terms of making the most of the existing resources into new resources, and to really propel the economic growth of the country forward in a way so environmentally sustainable, socially inclusive. Really speaks to a lot to principles of green growth and economy. So really just an exciting time. Rwanda, the last things went really well, and the governments and the officials there did a fantastic. And then this year, even everyone's expectations. Rwanda tends to punch above. It's a relatively small country geographically. At the same time, has really a leader in so many different areas. When you look at the agreement, and you look at different rules of the way that Rwanda is really leading climate action, only in terms of negotiation, diplomacy, but in terms of so it's something that's really to see that it prioritized so high the list of a number of different government is taking. So that is something that's inspiring, and other country offices also find inspiring. It's great to see. We're excited to see. Things will actually be implemented. Get home from COP27. There's a lot of work to be. Done for sure. GGGI is always happy to support climate action in any way that. That's a good question. I think in terms of being done right, it's hard to point to just. The importance of climate has been really in multiple levels. It's the top-down or bottom-up approach. Really, it encourages community-based action, action at the national level. It includes at the different agencies, involve development partners. So partnerships is really key. But also that it's really infused multiple layers of as well as community level. So seeing that is really exciting. You have things indigenous to Rwanda, such as tree planting day. And I was showing photos of National Tree Planting Day relatives, and they say, "Why are you planting?" My relatives, and they say, "Why are you planting?" I was like, because it's National Tree Planting Day. Something that other countries could emulate and replicate. So there's lots of home examples of Rwanda is really instilling climate action at levels, not only but also throughout society, and really involving. That's something that I think really admirable, inspiring as well. That youth are really engaged. In climate action in Rwanda. In terms of implementation. There are challenges in terms when you work with multiple sometimes quarters, sometimes it can be difficult. Challenge in terms of dealing with the potential for duplication and overlap. At the same time, there are mechanisms in place to help coordinate with the different partners. It's difficult when different organizations have their own siloed way of doing things, or specific deliverables that achieve within their project. At the same time, there are mechanisms to help and to encourage developers and organizations to share information, as well as to find synergy possible. It's not perfect, but I know that in terms of implementing, we've come a long as an organization, GGGI, but also in terms of how we coordinate, communicate with other development partners and other organizations. There are sector works that help to facilitate exchange of information and identify potentials where they are. But at the same time, implementation is, I don't want to say mess. It's to coordinate. At the same time, when you have so many different that are just really trying for climate action and are working in the same times, it's natural to have some duplication, but there's no shortcut at the same time. I think there's a few. One is the opportunity to engage with stakeholders that I don't necessarily get to engage with. Participants from other countries, also participate in countries where a country office, so that I can then to be in contact with GGGI country there. I'm also looking forward to sharing just the optimism that I have, the inspiration that from the examples that we have in Rwanda. So for me, that's something that I look forward to. Because I think seeing is, and not everyone has up to be here in Rwanda and experience what's in terms of the progress the city of Kigali is making, and all of the measures that can to ensure climate is taken seriously, and the impact is at where it's needed most. So I think those are the two, just sharing and engaging with stakeholders and participants that I don't normally engage with, and then also sharing the message sharing the message, what's possible, and rethinking what's possible, because that's something that I've really with in terms of my experience working and living in, and it's something I feel like is needed in the climate space more. I know there's a research and newspaper articles that are really making the point we're running out of time. It's absolutely true. But at the same are fantastic that we can share, and also just optimism that if we do come together and we do focus working together for climate action, we can do fantastic things. Yes, it's on ability. So I'll be sharing some of the lessons learned, work that we've been doing, but also encouraging the place to exchange ideas, exchange lessons learned. That's new being adopted by certain countries, and other countries have been implementing e-mobility projects for a number of years, decades. So it's something that I feel like we can. The technologies are changing, and there's more models that are on the market, new ways to ensure that the capital expenditure for country lower, especially for developing and emerging economies. And this is something that GGGI taking stock of in our e-mobility projects that are taking place in Mexico and Sri Lanka. So we have a lot of lessons learned from economies that can with shortening the learning curve.